Okay guys, I just got done checking the analytics for the channel and we continue to grow every single day. I don't understand why. Like I say at the beginning of every single video, I do not know what I'm talking about. I love fantasy sports, I love Major League Baseball, but fantasy baseball, I'm not the most knowledgeable guy on the block. So because of that, like I've been asking y'all, please go down to the comment section. Give me ideas of people you want me to bring on the channel. Give me ideas of people you want me to interview. Because I promise you, those videos will be significantly better than me just sitting here rambling about nothing, as we usually do. But, of course, also be dropping those likes like y'all have been. Thank you so much for growing this channel and the nice comments that y'all been leaving. And what we are going to be doing in this video is we are going to be going through and we are going to be looking at projected whip from Fantasy Pros, and we are going to be going and seeing if the average draft position for any of these pitchers stands out with where their projected whip is. And why we are using Fantasy Pros is not because this is an ad, it's not because I've even talked to them. Literally, like I said, I don't know enough about fantasy baseball to come out here and make my own projections. So we are going to have to use the free projections that we found online. So of course, if you have any problems with these, please let me know in the comment section. Your opinion is just as valuable as mine, if not more. But anyway, let's go through, and of course this first player that we are going to be talking about, his ADP is not going to line up with his projected whip just because he's not going to be seeing nearly the amount of games, and you also have the injury concern. And this is going to be Chris Sale, who right now is going at pick 271 according to high stakes fantasy baseball drafters. And obviously, nobody needs me to tell them this, but this is due to the Tommy John surgery that he had last March. But recent reports are saying that they're going to be expecting him back late May, early June. And of course, when you read those reports, you kind of read them as, okay, this is going to be early June, and he's going to be eased back in. So we probably shouldn't be able to expect to play him until probably late June, I would say. I think that would be a conservative estimate. But even then, I mean, at this cost, that's kind of going to be an intriguing decision point, especially when you know that you can put him on the DL for your fantasy baseball roster. Now, if we go right now, I understand that Chris Sale, I mean, he's been around for like a decade. It seems like he has been in the major league rotations for forever now. And I was expecting him to be 34, 35 years old when I looked this up, but he's only 31, which was actually surprising. And no, we did not get the 2020 season from him, so we can't look at any of those statistics. But like I say in every single video, I mean, what can you really take from the 2020 season? The sample size is so small, but what we can do is we can go out there and we can look at the 2019 season where he pitched 147 innings and he had 218 strikeouts, a whip that was about 1.0, it was 1.086, and then a strikeout per inning ratio, and this is where it gets very, very interesting for Chris Sale, where he was up at 1.48 strikeouts per inning. And we know that is an elite number. You understand that if he comes back and if he's able to come anything close to that, just say for 25% of the season, I mean, he is going to smash his ADP. He could possibly be a league winner by the time you get to the end of the year. But if we go to what Fantasy Pros is projecting from him currently, and I understand that these projections are going to be highly volatile because you don't know when he's coming back. You don't know how many innings pitched you're going to be getting, and you don't know what the arm is going to be looking like right away. But still, the projections have him in 2021 pitching for 85 innings at a whip that is 1.08 and then 111 Ks for a strikeout per inning ratio of 1.3. And I'll say I understand the strikeout per inning ratio for 2021 projections is a lot lower than what he had in 2019. But I think that's fair. I think that's what we should expect. There's no way that he can maintain that 1.48, especially coming back from surgery. So I think that is a reasonable expectation. And I think that if you get, just say, 35% of the season from Chris Sale, and you're making him your, just say, very, 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 very deep pick, where you're just going, you know what? In these later rounds, what I'm pretty much just looking for is I'm looking for pure upside. The majority of these guys I'm going to end up cutting. I'm going to end up going through and using the waiver wire regardless. So if you can look at this, you can stash him at the beginning of the year, and then hopefully he brings you that upside at the very end of the season. I think that could be a solid investment. All right, so now let's go to our next pitcher, someone that we've talked about in a few videos. I think we talked about him with Aaron. Maybe it was Michael. I don't know. But this is Walker Bueller. And right now, according to ADP, he is the 7th pitcher going off the board. So I understand that he's going at the beginning of drafts. I mean, he is falling to the late 2nd round a lot of the times, though. And this is a range where I've been on record saying a lot of these hitters going the late 2nd round, I don't necessarily like going out there and getting them. I don't necessarily like making the investment into like a Bryce Harper in this range. I would much rather go with like a Juan Soto in the 1st round and then come around in the back half of the 2nd, get a Walker Bueller. And right now, he is only 26 years old, so obviously not even in his prime yet, just going into it, playing for the Dodgers, so we know that's also a plus on his resume. And I'm not going to look at the 2020 season just because we know, small sample, he had a great 2020 season, but it was such a crazy year, I don't want to take too much away from it. What I'd rather do is I'd rather look at the full sample that we have in 2019 combined with his 2021 projection. And in 2019, he was able to go out there and pitch 182 innings. He had 215 strikeouts at a whip of 1.04. So yes, the strikeouts per inning here, they're not necessarily ideal. You would rather see them up in that 1.3, 1. Even just say 2.8 range. But the whip is incredibly low. And we know how impactful that is going to be in those rotisserie formats for you. So if we go to 2021 and we look at these projections, I mean, he's projected to see 172 innings pitched, 201 strikeouts, a whip of 1.10, which I think that maybe that's a little high. I know that's aggressive to say, but you look at what he's been able to do over the past few years and you go, okay, I mean, he was younger whenever he was pitching at a whip lower than this. Why are we going to be expecting him to naturally go up? I'm assuming maybe this is just something with the projections, maybe something with the math, and that it's hard to project those outlier type seasons. And then they're also only projecting him for 1.16 Ks per inning. And now this is something that I think we can be a little bit more aggressive here. I'll say I think we're fine saying the whip at a 1.10 projection is completely fine, but I think Walker Bueller maybe is going to surprise some people this year just going through his natural progression and maybe increasing his strikeout rate. And if that happens, I mean, I know you're making that significant investment into him, but I think he would be great to have as your first pitcher if you decide to go hitter in the 1st round. All right, so now our last pitcher is someone that I swear to God we talk about in every single video. Michael was on record saying that he loves him in this range. And of course, like I've said so many times, Michael knows what he's talking about more than I do. And this is Max Scherzer, where right now he's the 10th pitcher off the board at an ADP of 29. So he's going about in the middle of the 3rd round. And yes, I mean, he's old. 36 years old, pitching for Washington right now. And if you look at the 2020 season, it is not ideal. But like we've said so many times before, I think a lot of people are going to be overrating that 2020 season because there were so many moving variables. Everything was in the air. The sample size was small. I think it's much more useful to look at 2019, even though in this case, I understand the argument of saying, hey, Mason, but once he gets to this age, I think we should be kind of feeling it out a little bit more. I think maybe that natural decline should be expected, so 2020 could make sense. And that's a valid argument. I just want to put my eggs in the basket of the larger sample, which we had in 2019, where he was straight up elite, where you had 172 innings pitched, 243 Ks, a whip of 1.03, and 1.41 strikeouts per inning. And then you go to his 2021 projections, and they're a little bit more conservative than that. But still, even if he just hits these 2021 projections, I'm completely fine with him as a 3rd round pick, where he's projected to see 179 innings pitched, 232 strikeouts, a 1.13 whip, a 1.29 Ks per inning. So, I mean, I think I would be completely fine taking Walker Bueller at the end of the 2nd, Max Scherzer at the beginning of the 3rd, and starting with one of those elite hitters at the very top of the draft. Because, I mean, if we're just following these projections right now, I mean, Walker Bueller and Max Scherzer looking like great bets over the hitters at that late 2nd, early 3rd turn. Now, thank you guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you go down there, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. It helps us out a ton. And yeah, that's it. Like I said, I don't know what I'm talking about, so just a massive disclaimer.